Solving linear equations, and for problem number 1 we see we have parentheses on both sides, and we really want to make sure we remember to simplify both sides. So in this case, simplifying would mean just to go ahead and distribute both sides. Distribute here on the left side the negative 2, so negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and negative 2 times positive 2 is a minus 4, or negative 4. And over here we have negative 3 times x, negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 1 is a positive 3. So simplifying both sides means that after we get rid of the parentheses, we're going to try to combine like terms, which we can here. The negative 2x doesn't have any other like terms to combine with, and the negative 3 and the negative 4 gives us negative 7. So on the both sides, we've got both sides simplified. Now we just want to choose sides, and I'm going to choose to put the variables on the left-hand side by adding 3x to both sides. And then if I'm going to move the variables to the left, I'm going to move the number terms to the right. So adding 7 to both sides, because I have a minus 7, I put a plus 7, and those give us a sum of 0. It's called a zero sum. Negative 3x and a positive 3x. Anytime you add the opposite of a term, you get 0. And so when all the dust settles, we get on the left-hand side negative 2x, positive 3x is 1x, or just x. And then 3 plus 7 on the right side is equal to 10. So now x is already isolated, so we have isolated our variable. And we get x equals 10. The next problem, which would be kind of similar, I suppose, would be number 5. Well, maybe I'll do number 4. Number 4, it's got more in it, so let's try that. So for number 4, we've got, I noticed that some students are drawing a line right down the middle of the equal sign, separating the left from the right, so I kind of like that. So we'll go ahead and follow that. On the left-hand side, we can see negative 5m minus 1m. That gives us a negative 6m. And then equals. On the right side, we're going to have to distribute again. So 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. 5 times negative m is negative 5m. Just keep your signs organized. Plus 2 times m is plus 2m. And 2 times 4 gives us 8. Positive times a positive. So then on the left-hand side, that's already simplified. The right-hand side, we've got like terms. Combining the variable terms first, called linear terms. Negative 5 and 2 is negative 3. And negative 5m and 2m makes negative 3m. And then we have negative 5 and positive 8. That gives us a positive 3. So we could do one of two things here. It'd probably be easier just to move the variables to the left-hand side because there's only variables on the left. So by adding 3m to both sides, we get negative 6 and positive 3 is negative 3, but it's an m term. These add up to 0, and then we have equals 3. So then we're just going to go ahead and divide both sides by negative 3, and we get m is equal to negative 1. Try to keep each of these videos to under 5 minutes. See if I can find a different looking one. So let's scoot on down to number 9. Number 9, I can't get it exactly where I want it, but hold on a second. Let me zoom out just a little bit. There we go. Alright, so for number 9, we don't have parentheses on this one, but we do have fractions. And what we want to think about here is what would be our best first step? Our best first step would be to clear the fractions in this case. Okay, there might be some exceptions to that general rule, but in general we want to clear the fractions. And clearing the fractions means that we're going to multiply both sides of the equation, which means every single one of the 3 terms, by a number that will be that each of the denominators will divide evenly into. And that number is what we call the lowest common denominator. The lowest common denominator of all the denominators would be 4, because 4 divides evenly into 4, as well as 2. So 2 also divides evenly into 4. So we're going to multiply both sides of the equation by 4. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to show that by, let's put a minus sign right in there, minus 4 times 3 halves v. So this can get a little bit tricky if you're not comfortable with fractions, but if you are comfortable with fractions, well, keep trying until you are. 4 times 9 over 4, 4 divides evenly, the 4's cancel. Okay, 4 divides evenly into 4 once, and this one as well. So the left side just becomes 9. 4 times 9 over 4 is equal to 9. You can think of it as 4 over 1 times 9 over 4. 36 over 4, that's 9. So you can cancel to keep the numbers smaller. On the right hand side, 4 times negative 3v is negative 12v. And then we want to cancel over here as well. So 4 over 1 times 3 over 2v, the 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 4 twice. And that little v right there, sometimes that poses problems. So I want you to think about that as v over 1. And so we're just going to multiply straight across. Every denominator is 1. We have a minus sign here, so that stays. 2 times 3 times v is 6v. Once you get to this point, you combine like terms on the right. Negative 12 and negative 6 is negative 18. And then we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by negative 18, isolating the variable. 9 over negative 18, any positive divided by a negative is always a negative. And 9 goes into 18 twice. And so the simplest form for that fraction would be negative 1/2. And that's equal to v. There you go.